Hi, how are you tonight? I'm so glad that you decided to join me tonight, and thank you. And I'm Roberta Colosino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, currently coming to you from Pompano Beach, Florida. Normally, I'm coming to you from upstate New York, but things are a little bit different right now. I'm on vacation. So today we're going to play with, well, a relatively new set, although honestly I've had it for a while and I haven't done a thing with it until today. So it's beautiful, the paper is beautiful, everything about it is beautiful, so I'm hoping that you will enjoy it as much as I do. I had to redo my whole room again, and so I'm going to turn the camera down, and I'm not sure if we're going to be in the right place, but I'll move things around so that it works, okay? I promise. You may get to see the ceiling first. I just never seem to know for sure what's going to happen when. Okay, so I'm not seeing me yet, so I don't know what you're seeing. Oh, I forgot my mouse doesn't work on this table either. Okay. I have a feeling it's not right and that I should have pushed one different button before I started. But let's see. Bear with me. Oh. Well, okay, there we go. Okay, but I don't like that view. So depending on which camera I use, I get a better view. So hang on a second. And I don't mean which camera really. I just mean which view. I guess what I'm trying to say. And now I'm guessing you're going to be looking at the ceiling. Yep. All right. So just hang on a second. And okay. Hold, please. I do so hate to do this to you. It happens way, way too often. Yeah, nope, still not right. Okay, hang on. Hey, Amy, glad you're here, but you're going to have to hang on, and I may have to go. Oh, wait, no, I don't have to go back. All right. Nope, still there. There we go. Oh, but now we're backwards. Okay. I'm telling you, it's just always something. There we go. Now we should be right. Yep, we are. As many times as I experiment with this, and as many times as I think I've got it, I don't always have it, and sometimes I think it's my fault, and sometimes I think it's not. Okay, no matter. I'm just glad you're here. Okay. So, it is February. It's actually already, what, February 5th or 6th or 6th or 7th? I can't even remember, good grief. I think it's the 7th. Yes, my computer says it's the 7th. Okay, good grief. So I can't believe that it's not January anymore. It took me quite a while to figure that out. You know, when you're on vacation, you don't pay quite so much attention to the days of the week and things like that. And when you're retired, it's kind of nice, but in a way it's kind of weird because you don't know whether you're coming or going sometimes. All right, so I have a special going on for the month of February, similar to what I had in January. And again, thank you to those who placed an order in January. So I'm making 3 cards tonight. And if you place an order in the month of February and use this host code, you will get everything you need. You will get a kit to make each of those 3 cards. Also, I wanted to tell you, just remind you that if your order happens to be over $150, don't use the host code, but by all means, just shoot me a quick message letting me know that you placed an order, because you will get the rewards, the host rewards, or not the host rewards, well, yeah, they are kind of host rewards. Oh my gosh, whatever they're called, you'll get the rewards. So if you don't understand how that works, please do ask me. I've had a couple of people who needed to call me and ask me, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I would much rather have you do that than have you place an order and lose your rewards. Okay, so what we're playing with today is the Garden Meadow stamp set, which in a bundle comes with the Garden Meadow dies. And these are really cool dies. And just to point out to you that very often you will see dies that you don't see a stamp for. So there are dies to make the gate, and there are also this die here which you would use to cut out the gate. If you stamped the gate, you could cut it out with that, or you can create a gate with this one just using, let's say, brown paper, okay? But there's no stamp that goes with this, and this is basically just shrubbery, just kind of background shrubbery. And there is no die that goes with this here, and I think this is supposed to be just kind of grassy hills or whatever. There is no stamp, rather, I keep saying die. I think there is no stamp that goes with this die, and I think this too is just a little hill or a mound. So there are very often stamps and dies that don't seem to match up, and that's because you almost always get some dies that don't have stamps and the other way around. All right, and this one is very cool. It's kind of like a window, but it could be an arbor if you didn't show the whole thing. I'm not making an arbor today, but I am making a window, so you'll get to see that. And if you also bought this in a suite, aside from getting these two things, which are the bundle, you would get the Meandering Meadows Designer Series paper, which is a 6x6 paper. And I'm pretty sure I showed this to you when I first bought this, when I first got it. But it's got a beautiful scenery. It kind of reminds me of a Monet painting, kind of watery, but then it's got solid patterns on the back, or they're not all solid. So that one's just like a variety of greens, which just make a great background. It's just all kind of scenes that you might see possibly looking out a window. There's this one here, which has some beautiful, beautiful colors. It's got some pinks and some purples and everything else. And then on the other side, you've got just kind of a little abstract design. There are 4 sheets of every color, I think, or of every pattern. Here's another one, very pretty. And then this one's really deep green on the other side, almost so deep that you can hardly make out the color. All right, and then this one, which is really pretty. And on the other side of that, we've got this, I'm not sure what colors I see in there, quite a few, but I see the pink definitely. All right, so again, very pretty. This one, which has the blues on the back. And then, whoops, that one, there we go, which was upside down. And that one has these colors on the back. We're going to use one of those tonight as well as one of the scenes. And then this one, which has more florals on the back. That might be one of the only ones that has florals on the back as well. I'm not going to swear to it, but yeah, this one just has more designs. That one almost looks like clouds, although I don't know that clouds too often anyway look purple, but kind of. Now I'm not getting these flipped over or put in order. I'm making a mess of them, so I might as well just keep going. This one's really lovely, and look at those beautiful colors on the back. Hello, Amy. How are you tonight? And then this one with the purplish clouds and some more flowers on the back. So, okay, so there are 2 that seem to have some floral patterns on the back. And I think I've showed you everything, and we're using 3 different sheets of this tonight. They're all slightly different to make our cards. All right, so let me get this out of the way. So the first card is going to use just a small piece, a small section of one of those scenes, and this kind of looks like a river, maybe emptying out into a larger lake or something like that. These could be mountains in the background. It's kind of abstract. You might remember when we had a set in the spring catalog, probably 3 years ago, maybe even more. It was called Welcoming or Welcome Window, something like that. I did something similar with that. So I picked this Designer Series paper, and I always forget the name of this. This, I believe, is the host paper that is called, yep, it is. It's called Delightfully Eclectic, and this is in the annual catalog, but I think it's a host paper. So in other words, you have to spend a certain amount to get it. If I'm lying to you, if I'm wrong about that, I will let you know. I should have written on here. Usually I do if it's a host paper. So anyway, I'm doing the same thing or similar to what I did with that other card, where I'm using this as kind of wallpaper. So this sort of makes me think of maybe some 1950s or 60s kitchen wallpaper with limes on it and lemons on it. I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm just putting that on a regular card base. Now this I just left in here because it's the leftover from here. But I can't believe that you can't do something with this at some point. So this, I would not consider this a scrap to throw away. Or you could even use the other side, which has the daisies on it, and those are really adorable. So, you know, that's not what I consider a scrap to get tossed. All right, so I'm going to glue. Uh-oh, I just flipped my, oh, there it is. Okay, I was saying I just flipped my pin someplace. All right, so I'm going to glue this onto the card base, which is basic white, and this is the thick. Is this the thick? No, I don't think that is the thick. All right, so we'll get some glue on there. It's coming out really fast for some reason. I don't know. Normally I would say, oh, I'm in Florida, the heat might be affecting it, but I'm here to tell you there has not been much heat here in South Florida. A friend of mine who has lived here 20 years or so said, well, January, she said, was the coldest January she could remember. And it's just continuing. I don't think it's getting much above 65, maybe 70. Every day this week, and it seems that when we get a warm day, it's a rainy day. So, you know, it's not like a day for going in the pool or whatever. It's been a little different. I'm still not complaining, you know, when it's in the 20s or the teens at home. I'm happy to have 65-degree weather. I truly am, especially if the sun is shining. So I don't want to complain. Oh, so I think I shouldn't have done that because I think that I wanted to put this underneath. I think I did. So, although, you know what, wait, I'm going to leave it. And instead of putting it underneath and tearing that up, I'm just going to get some, oh, there's a lady down here who keeps calling them pop dots, and now she's got me wanting to call them pop dots. Dimensionals. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of those, or that thing, and I'm just going to pop it up so that it'll have a little bit more of a 3D effect. And all I could think about when I saw this was, imagine living in a place where you could look out your window and see something like that. It's pretty amazing. Now, you know, the view out of my backyard, my back window, my studio at home or craft room at home, whatever you want to call it, is very pretty, especially in the wintertime when it's covered with snow. To be honest, it's especially pretty then. But not like this. There is a Facebook group, and I would encourage you to join it because it'll make you happy. Hey, Sally, how are you? The Facebook group is called, I hope I'm not saying this wrong, it's called Out My Window or View from My Window. I think it's View from My Window. And there are people in this Facebook group from all over the world, and they simply take a picture and post a picture of what the view is outside their window. There's a woman from South Africa who literally has elephants wandering around outside her window. Now, I don't know that that's typical, you know, but I from the looks of it, I don't think she lives in suburbia for sure. You know, she lives kind of out there, and she has elephants outside her window. And then there's another woman who posts, she has a family of, what are they called, bobcats, that visits her back deck every once in a while, and she posts pictures of them. So just imagine looking outside your window and seeing something like that. And I know that some of my friends have some beautiful backyards with some beautiful shrubbery and whatnot that they've done over the years, and we all have nice views, but it's nice to see what other people's views are. So when I made this card, I started to think, well, what about a sentiment? And to be honest, I did not want to block any of this with a sentiment. Now, you know, you do you, as I always say. There are a lot of colors in this designer series paper. There is balmy blue, basic black, blueberry bushel, cherry cobbler. You don't see them in every single one though. So I'm looking at this one and I'm thinking I definitely see garden green. I definitely see some blueberry bushel. I definitely see some orchid oasis. I don't think I see any pecan pie in here. So I tend to look at that just to decide what color my sentiment should be. And of course there's always the option to go with black, which is, you know, kind of a no-brainer. Now I stamped this one out in Memento Black because I really like the sentiment. Every day is a fresh start. And I wouldn't mind putting this here, kind of like down on the bottom here. Or I could just stamp every day is a fresh start on the inside. I could do that as well. Either one would be okay. I just like to show you some different options. So now I'm wondering, hang on. I'm just reaching for some of this because I think I'm going to grab some of that and cut maybe, Oh, I don't know. Let's see. No, let's go. No, it won't work in that direction. So we're going to go this way. Let's go half an inch, I think, or 3/4. We'll go 3/4. 3/4 of an inch. All right. So somebody asked me earlier, I think just in a Facebook message, if my bathroom was done yet. And the answer is a very sad and very angry no, it's not. I am withholding payment from the company that did the work in my bathroom. I gave them the down payment because I trusted them, and that was a mistake. The workers showed up when they wanted to, took lots of breaks, which luckily I documented how many hours they actually were in the bathroom working. They kept the door to the bedroom closed, and sometimes they kept the door to the bathroom closed to keep down the dust. I think it was also to make sure that I didn't see what they were doing. And then they left one day. They told me they were done. Their part of the job was done, and the next thing would be that the plumber would come in and deal with any of the plumbing stuff. So these first people did the demolition, all right, which I thought, geez, I almost could have done that myself, but probably not. It was nasty work. And so I went into the bathroom after they were out and probably, racing out the door and racing out of the parking lot. I went in, and all that they had demoed was the floor of the shower. And there was this rubbery thing sitting on the floor of the shower that I had never seen anything like it before. And they had not taken the tiles off the walls, which was the whole thing they had to do, because then the new tile guy is supposed to come in and put in the new tile. Okay, so we've got this. That's our window view. That's our wallpaper. I put this on the inside just for a little, something. And I think I'll just use that same stamp because I really do like that sentiment. And I'm thinking that maybe instead of black, I could use garden green. Yeah, I'll use garden green because I think that's garden green in there too. And if not, it's close enough. And things looked really rough. They didn't look smooth, and I wondered how anybody was supposed to tile over that. It was an unholy mess in there. I mean, it took me days to get it cleaned up. Terrible mess. And I, would like to assume that they're supposed to do some cleanup after themselves, but they didn't. So on this particular card, oh, hang on, I want to get a pad. I'm going to put the sentiment a little further down because I'm thinking of the sentiment tomorrow's, what does it say? Every day is a fresh start. That this might be the kind of a card you send to somebody who was having some, I don't want to say issues or problems. It makes it sound like there's something wrong with them. But a friend who's going through a little something. And so you might really want to write some encouraging words. So your message might be a little longer than usual. And then you're giving them this kind of words of wisdom at the bottom that says every day is a fresh start. So I really like that. And it's really pretty simple. One die cut, and it's a big one. And then the DSP, a different DSP, and then a stamp, and it's done. So that's a very simple one. So that's card number 1. All right, I'm going to kind of let that hang open so that dries on the inside. So I called the guy who was supposed to be the project manager, and he said, well, this is a different kind of shower pan. It's not the kind I'm thinking of, and that's the way it looks, and it's fine. And I said, but they're supposed to take the stuff off the walls, right? And he goes, yeah. He said, please take a picture and send it to me. So I sent him the picture, and he sent them back, but they couldn't come back for 3 more days. And then we kind of had more of the same. They took long breaks. They were outside on the phones, having a smoke out the side door, and everything like that. And then when they said they were done, I still just had this feeling that something wasn't right about the job, that it just wasn't what I was expecting. So, hang on, I just have to look at that one. Okay, now I know where I'm going. So I have a back side of one of these pieces of DSP. So unfortunately with DSP this pretty, you end up having to sacrifice one side for the other, but I just kind of wanted a background. I've got Balmy Blue. I think it's Balmy Blue. I'm starting to doubt it though. I'm just not sure anymore. It might be something else. I did not bring all of my paper in packets that had their names on it because, I thought I was so smart. I know them all. I know all the names. Hey, Colleen, how are you? So there was a plumber next door doing some work. And I said, I don't mean to be obnoxious, but can I borrow your plumber for 5 minutes? And the neighbor was like, yeah, sure, okay. So the guy comes over here. He walks in and he goes, Jesus Christ. Like at the top of his lungs, you know. I said, so this isn't good. He says, this is a mess. Who did this? So I told him, and he says, where'd you find them? I told him where I found them, and he said, well, I'll share with you what he said. He said, don't use Angie's List because they just want the contractor's money, and they don't really care. He says, I've heard this stuff again and again, and you know, you thought you were doing a good thing by using Angie's List, and I'm here to tell you that you probably didn't. So I kind of wanted this card to go this way, but yet I like the way that pattern goes more that way. But no, I think I have to have it go this way because the design I want to put in it is going to need to be landscape or it's not going to work. So I'll keep trying to tell this story. I don't know if you find it interesting or not, but it helps me to vent. So you're going to listen to it. How's that? I'm looking for the stamp set. I'm telling you, I can't put anything down for even a nanosecond here. Oh, there we go. I moved. No, that's not that one. That's something else. All right, well, it doesn't matter. You don't need to see the stamp set to know. So the stamp set has this really cool wheelbarrow full of flowers in it. And so I stamped that in one of the grays. Which gray did I use? Smoky Slate. I stamped that in Smoky Slate because I wanted it to be kind of light and maybe look kind of metallic or whatever, but not necessarily shiny. I mean, most wheelbarrows that I've ever seen are kind of rusty and nasty. Sometimes they're painted a pretty color though, so we could paint ours a color if we want. Well, we're not going to paint it, but I'm going to use my blends. Anyway, so he told me it was a hot mess, and he said that I should get someone in there, even if I have to pay them to do like an actual inspection to see if it's really ready to go. So I called a plumber that I've used before, and the only reason I didn't use him this time is because this person was supposed to be a general contractor who could do the demolition, then have a guy come in and do the plumbing, and then have a guy come in and do the tiling. And so it was like one-stop shopping, and that just seemed like a good plan to me. Live and learn, honey, live and learn. Not a good plan at all. Okay, so I'm going to use Granny Apple Green for the leaves on this. And again, normally I do not die cut before I color, but I just decided to this time because I don't have a really good answer. I just did this time. And I figured, you know, I could put it down on a piece of scrap paper, which you should do if you're using the blends anyway, because it soaks through, and I'll just be really careful. So I think I'm going to do the leaves first. So I'm going to start with the Granny Apple Green Dark, and I think I'll outline a little bit in dark. All right, and I'm not going to do like super, super careful. What I really should have done was to color one first, and then just show you a little bit of coloring, and then pull out the one that was already colored, kind of like magic, but I didn't do that. So the guy came and he said, yeah, I have to tell you, he says, this has to be ripped out and redone. And he told me all the reasons, and the other guy had said the same thing, so I honestly do believe them. And the price that he gave me to do that was very reasonable, all things considered. So I just put some dark on the veins there, and then I'm going to take the light and I'm going to blend it through. And again, they're so small that they can barely be seen, so honestly I'm not going to get too fussy about it, but I will try to stay in the lines at least. So he's coming tomorrow to basically rip out everything that the other guys did. So then, of course, the other guys started sending me a bill for the other half of the money, which now they're saying was only for the demolition, that they never said they would do the tile. They just know a guy. So they gave my phone number to the guy, and if the guy wants my job, he'll call me. I'm telling you, that's not what I heard. And I swear from now on, I'm just recording my conversations with people. Not you guys, you know, not regular people, but people who could cost me money, contractors. I'm just going to record everything. I'm very happy that I made notes about how many hours they actually spent in the apartment, because I asked both plumbers, so how much do you make an hour? And it's nowhere near what these guys would have made if they were being charging by the hour for the amount of time they actually spent working in my bathroom. So then I do a deeper dive. All right, so I'm done with that. Like I said, I could do more, but I just kind of want to move along here. So for the flowers, I would like to make the flowers one of the colors in here. And I'm thinking, what did I say I saw? There's got to be something purplish in there. Oh, Highland Heather is in there. And Orchid Oasis is pretty dark, though. So Highland Heather, and then I feel like there might be two different kinds of flowers here, or it's just bunches of the same thing. I'm not sure. and I'm not sure if I want to pretend that they are different, or maybe I should just stick with them being the same, but then I'm concerned that it won't be too colorful. So I did a deep dive on the reviews, and I read some of the reviews, and what I found out was that this guy who said he was the general contractor has a reputation for taking advantage of single women, especially single older women. And then he says, well, I don't think she could hear me. Well, I'm not 100, okay? My hearing's just fine, thank you. Or he'll say, she couldn't hear me. I don't think she understood me. I have a little bit of an accent. Well, really, he has barely any accent, and I had no trouble understanding him at all. That was supposed to be dark. And then he also has a reputation for going to their homes and banging on the doors and the windows at like 9 o'clock at night. So that's ridiculous. And how frightening would that be to an older woman living alone, right? So here he can't get in because the door downstairs is locked. So it's kind of a secure building, that you can only get in if you live here. Now, if he wants to stand outside my window and serenade me at night, no problem there. So I'm withholding payment, and the new plumber is going to write a... Sorry, I was reading your comment, Colleen, about 2 lavenders. So you're saying just to use kind of 2 different shades of purplish? I could do that. I could use fresh freesia. I could. Now this is the light, but the other one seemed darker. I may have to put that center in again. So the other one is going to write for me everything that was wrong. He says if you had a building inspector coming in here and looking at this, any type of an inspector, they would not pass this, what they did here for inspection. It won't even hold water. So, and I'm guessing that the bottom of a shower, is probably supposed to hold water, right? What do I know? So I'm withholding the money, and he's calling me 3 or 4 times a day, and he's texting me, and I'm just ignoring him. And we'll see what happens. Luckily, I never told him where I was from or that I didn't live here, so he's not going to be able to tell just by seeing a New York license plate in the parking lot. Although I'm not the only one, I'm kind of close to it. There aren't that many New Yorkers that come down here anymore. New Jersey, Vermont, and North Carolina, different parts of Florida, things like that. But anyway, so that's what's going on here. So we may have like a little legal case going on at some point, but I'm just not giving them the rest of the money because there's no way that what those guys did would have cost what they're saying I owe them. Just no way. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would believe that either. So we will see what happens. But now, of course, my project is delayed yet again. And I have some friends and a family member that are supposed to be coming to visit. And the whole idea was to have them have their own bathroom. Yeah, so... Oh, wait, where's fresh freesia? That's probably what I want. No, I don't want gorgeous grape. That's too much. And I don't want pink. I know I have fresh freesia. I thought I had fresh freesia. Maybe I really don't. Maybe I don't. Well, if that's really true, then I might decide to use bubble gum. Bubble bath. I keep wanting to call it bubble gum. Bubble bath. All right, we'll use bubble bath. And I think what I'm going to do is just take the brush side. So there's like a paintbrush side. And then, oops, how about if we put that where you can see it? Where are you? There you are. Oh, no. Jeez. Paintbrush side. There you go. All right. And then there is a bullet-tipped side. That is harder. So the paintbrush side you do need to be very careful with because you could crush it if you press too hard. So I do handle it just like a paintbrush, and you don't, make hard movements with a paintbrush. Then I've got this little thing over here. I don't even know what it is, but I'm just going to color it pink. Honestly, not sure. Oh, I know what it is. Well, it's the handle of the wheelbarrow, so I'll have to fix that because the handle of the wheelbarrow really shouldn't be pink. Although, if they're marketing to a female market, they might make a pink wheelbarrow, right? Who knows? So I'm just going to kind of lightly sketch in some color there so we won't be here till breakfast. Okay, I think that's good enough. Let's just put those over to put them away now. And then, you know, the one color marker that I didn't get, I don't really know why I didn't get it. I didn't get black. I thought it was kind of strange because they have what they call light black and dark black. And I always wondered, isn't black just kind of black? What's, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I overthink things. So I'm going to take the light smoky slate and use that for the metal on the handles and the wheel. I don't know what you call it. It's not a spoke, whatever you call it. It's this part of the wheel, the thing that holds the wheel on, and these things that allow the wheelbarrow to stand. I do not know technical wheelbarrow language, sorry. Okay, and then, oh yeah, there's this part too. So you've heard it all. The weather's not great, and somebody tried to rip me off and treat me like a stupid old lady. So that's my vacation so far. No, but I'm having fun with friends. We're having happy hour, and we're doing activities, and we formed a committee while I was here, and we're doing a Valentine's Day card making event on Sunday for adults and children. So if adults want to come, you know, they'll make nicer adult type cards. And if kids want to come, they're going to do like, you know, just maybe construction paper, and I'll have some things cut out for them to use, like some of the hearts I showed you, was it last week or week before last night? And I can't even keep track, a while ago. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I even did some sentiments in French, and I had a neighbor help me to translate so that I got that right. I do occasionally buy French sets from Stampin' Up, but I never got a French, what do you call it? Oh, that's the light. Now I want the dark. I never got a French Valentine set, so I just typed them up and printed them off on my computer, and I'm sure that will be fine. So that should be nice. Alright, so this probably, like I said, should be black. I could go over it with a Sharpie marker if I want to make it black, but we could say they're black, but the wheels got dusty, so they're gray. How's that? They're dusty wheels. Alright, and next time I promise if it involves this much coloring, I'll try to do one ahead of time so that you don't have to watch me color. But I know some of you want to learn how to color, and I'm not doing this with all the care that you're supposed to do with the light and the dark and the shading and the blending. I'm honestly not, you know, because it's a wheelbarrow wheel. I'm just not going to get all bent out of shape about it. So what I will do on this side, though, is I'll put some shading along the bottom of the wheelbarrow, because that might be darker. And maybe just like a little bit coming on this side. And then I'll take the light. And then the idea behind the blending is that even though you've now got the light, you start where the dark is and blend that out. So you're pulling the darker color out so it's not just sitting in one spot. And then eventually that sort of wears off and you don't have any more on the point. And so now you really are just doing light. And you can always go back and add some shading anywhere you think that there might be a shadow or a dark spot or whatever. I could even come in with some type of orangey color and maybe add some rust to it. I did that with something I made recently, and that looked kind of cool. But again, I don't think I'll go there tonight. So I'm just doing some real basic, not great coloring, okay? Okay, so we've got that to put on the card. And, oh, but not here. Hello. On here. This is, yeah, much better. So we're going to put that on there on the white base where we can see it. And then one of the stamps, so now I really do need to find that stamp set because I need one of the other stamps. And you just know that it's sitting right in front of me because I didn't put anything away. And I said it didn't matter, but now it kind of does. Just very, very strange. Oh, over here is my watercolor pencils and my chamois. And oh my gosh, it's sitting under, yeah, under everything. Yep. So I'm going to mount up on a larger block. Oh, I might need one even larger than the one I have. Let's see. Oh, not that large. Excuse my arm. That might work. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to mount up the fence, and I'm going to mount up some just some little bushes, little stuff, little greenery, whatever. I'm going to mount those up, and then oh, here it is. There's a small stamp that just sort of represents some ground or some shadow on the ground or some such thing, and I'm going to mount that up. No, we don't have a color called periwinkle. I'm trying to think of what we have that's close to periwinkle. I think we do have one, but I don't have all of the blends because they're pretty expensive, and I've started collecting them a little at a time. But I'm just not getting every single color because sometimes you can sort of interchange them. All right, so let's just say the wheelbarrow is going to go there. And then I think I'm going to want pecan pie. And so what I'm going to do is just stamp some of this in pecan pie kind of here, there, and everywhere. So, oh, let me get a pad. So for those of you who don't know, I'm using a pad because when you use the photopolymer stamps, they don't have like as much squish to them as the red rubber does. So you need to give it some squish. Give it something to sink into, kind of. All right, so I'm going to do just a couple of those, like I said, here and there. And what I might do is do like one here, and then without re-inking, do a couple of others here and there. And then I might decide to add more, but that's probably a good start. And then I'm going to want to stamp, so I could stamp this in like a light color and then color it with the blends, but I feel like I've done enough with the blends for today and you don't need to see any more coloring. So let's just see. I have not played with this one yet. I don't know what it looks like, and I want to do that smushy thing that I do just to kind of take any of the finish that might be on this off. I'm still feeling that drywall dust on things, and I dusted and I vacuumed and I dusted and I vacuumed. And I was so nice to those guys too, because they were coughing and everything, and I said, why don't you have masks? Why doesn't your boss provide you with masks? Well, they don't have a boss. They're independent, whatever they are. They could be day workers for all I know. I honestly don't know what their status is. And so I like insisted, and I gave them masks both days that they were here to wear. All right, so I'm just going to stamp this on, kind of over to the right and up near the top. And then it may be, okay, so that's still just giving me an outline. So I might really need to come in with another color. And honestly, again, I don't think I got the pecan pie. Oh, Colleen, you have to leave. That's fine. Maybe you're already gone, but thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If I didn't buy, what is this? Oh, this is that bronze color that sometimes works for skin, but that might work too. Let me just take a look-see and see what that looks like. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't know if that looks too bronzy. That might work just fine, actually. So what I might do, let's go, hang on. Let's put this away before I put my fist in it or something. I should have in here my Sharpie markers. I keep like some bronze ones, a bronze one in here, although at the moment I'm only seeing, oh yeah, and a gold one for things like hubcaps, you know, on cars or things. So I'm just going to use this for the hinges. Now the hinges could be black too, but since I don't have a black marker right here with me, I'm going to go ahead and make the hinges kind of a silvery color, which they probably wouldn't be unless the fence was brand new. So we'll say it's a new fence. Everybody okay with that? New fence. Okay, there we go. So I've got a little of that there. And then I'm going to put some of the bronze just on some spots where I think it would be darker, like in the piece of wood that comes across on the back. I'll use the bronze there. And maybe a little bit on the part that's closer to the ground, because it probably gets wet. You know, that's a post. And then just a little bit on the sides. Again, you know, I'm not, oh, that was supposed to be a space, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't supposed to be wood and I colored it. So we do have our color lifter. And the color lifter, supposedly, we'll see, erases the color. It's a pretty dark color, but it'll make it lighter. So I hope you can see that. It'll definitely make it lighter. It may not make it go away completely, but it's pretty darn good. So that's all right. That can just kind of look like a shadow in the background. So back to this again, the bar, the crossbar, or whatever you want to call it, that goes across the back. I'll hit that with a little bit of the darker color. And then I'll hit this with some of the edges again, and I'll try not to color the air this time. There we go, and a little bit here. And then I'm going to get the dark crumb cake. Dark. That's dark. And we'll color on the fence quickly. I didn't think I'd have to color this, but as it turned out, I did. Okay, don't color the air again. There we go, no coloring air. Oh, I colored air there too. Jeez. What can I say? In my defense, they all look like boards, you know? They do. They all look like boards. Okay, and actually it gets lighter. So that one that I did a few minutes ago really lightened up to the point where you really can't see it anymore. So I'm feeling pretty okay about that. I'm sitting in a wicker chair and it's making some squeaking noises. It was given to me by a neighbor because she got new ones and mine got ruined here a couple of years ago. So she gave them to me and I just ordered some new cushions for them and I'm going to paint them white. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to figure out which was air and which was boards again. Apparently I'm having a little problem there. Alrighty. So what's new with everybody else? I'm not getting too much news from home except lots of cat news from my daughter. She's sending me pictures of Dexter, like pretty much every day, doing something goofy or sleeping or whatever. So I'm getting to hear what he's up to and what she's up to a little bit. Had a little excitement at my Weight Watchers meeting this morning. All of a sudden someone was screaming and a woman just kind of collapsed. Well, you can't even really call it collapsed. She just kind of became stiff as a board and flopped onto a stack of chairs. Luckily, some people were there to catch her. And so we got to see the Broward County EMS at work. They were three very nice young people. So we're all hoping that she's okay. It looks like she might have had a seizure or something, not really sure. Maybe by next week we'll know something more because she has some good friends in the class with her. Or in the group with her. So that was an exciting start. Not a good exciting, but exciting start to our Weight Watchers meeting this morning. I really enjoy going to them down here because it's 5 minutes away, whereas at home I have to drive like 40 minutes to get there because they've moved all the studios and they don't have any nearby anymore. That I'm not happy about. And this meeting is just full of people. There's like 50 people there at least. And they're very outspoken, and most of them are very nice, and they share ideas, and they talk a lot. Sometimes I go to meetings and nobody's talking but the leader, and it really is helpful when the people who go there are talking as well. Okay, so we've got that, and at some point I think I'm just going to add like some streaks or whatever to kind of make it look like wood, but I won't necessarily do that. All right, so now just to kind of take a look and see where my wheelbarrow will fit in all of this. So the fence is kind of in the background. Actually, it looks more like a gate than a fence. I'm thinking I need some more ground here, just a little bit more maybe. The other thing that you can do is that you can take a blend, like a light colored, let's see, like the crumb cake, and you can take the brush end of it and just kind of very gently using the side of it, you can just sort of do a little very sketchy back and forth, nothing too exciting, nothing too obvious, and put some extra dirt, ground, whatever you want to call it, in there. So I'll do that, and then maybe I won't need to stamp another one of these. And I can do that even right over the ones that I've stamped, just to give it more of an effect. I could throw some grain in there too if I wanted it to look like ground that was grassy but maybe a little muddy with grass. You could do that as well. So that, yeah, that makes things a little bit better. Of course, I've covered up some of these things that I stamped. All right, so I'm not going to glue that down yet. And then I wanted to do this one here just because it's a little bit of something. And so I'm going to, I think I'll do that in the smoky slate too. This is where I really do miss Sahara sand. It retired, and I'm not going to lie, I kept it because I like it for no-line watercoloring. So if you have a Sahara sand, and I know pretty much people, regular people, not demonstrators, don't get rid of their colors just because they retire, but some people do, just because they have limited space and they just don't have enough room. So if that's you, I would suggest hanging on to the Sahara sand. I really would. Just my opinion. All right, and then, I don't know, I guess since we started with purple, maybe I should stick with purple. So we'll make these a little purpley. I do wish, well, you know, actually, I'll say I do wish I have Gorgeous Grape, but that's super dark, so I don't know if I want to use that. This is actually dark enough. The Dark Highland Heather is pretty dark. So we'll use that, and we won't use the light at all. We'll just make this darker so we have a kind of a contrast, but in the same color family. And then the Granny Apple Green again. So what I'm going to do is just sort of color over that. See, and that's a little bit darker, which is why I like the Sahara sand. Oops, my marker slipped. We'll just pretend I did that on purpose. And then I could put a little bit of green under there. And then I can come up here and do the vein in the dark Granny Apple Green. And I could go over the stem in the dark. Okay. And then I could come in with the light. Now I'm using the paintbrush tip because these are very thin, but I'm not pressing. It's like I'm touching a baby with a feather. Okay, that's how lightly I'm pressing. You can't even call it pressing. It's just touching, because you will bend or break the tips of these if you go in with them thinking that you can treat them like a magic marker. All right, so that's that. And there's another stamp, but I might hold off on that again. There's a similar to this but smaller, and maybe I could put one of those next to this, and that might look nice. But I think this kind of gives you the idea, basically. The other thing that I might want to do, now that I think about it, I do have alcohol. Hang on, I do. So this is just a thought. So with our alcohol markers, I have alcohol, and I'm looking for a little glass dish. I always have glass dishes at home, but I don't have one here. I have a dirty dish with hummus in it behind me because I had a little snack, but I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to take a block, and I'm going to spray a little bit of alcohol on it, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. And I've done this before, so some of you may have seen it, some of you may not. This is 90 98%, 97%. You need to use the highest percentage you can find. And I got it. It comes in a spray bottle, but I don't have the spray bottle with me. I just put some in here in my mister. You can get it at Walgreens, and it comes in a spray bottle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Balmy Blue blends. Can you hear those sirens? We're right around the corner from the fire station, so, which is also the police station and also the ambulance station. The Broward County Sheriff's Department, otherwise known as BSO, really pretty much takes care of all of that. It's all within their purview. So I'm going to put some of it on lightly in the background, and it definitely doesn't look particularly special right now. I get it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, oh geez, okay. I didn't bring any paintbrushes over here because I didn't think I was doing this tonight. So my paintbrushes are all on the windowsill. I'm going to use my aqua painter, but I'm not going to squeeze any water out of it. So now I'm going to dab my aqua painter in the, in the alcohol, which unfortunately I sprayed too soon because it's already drying up. And it is supposed to spread, it really does, but it's starting to dry. So I'm going to end up not being thrilled with this. I can tell already I'm going to end up not being thrilled. However, oh, and I'm thinking that there's a little green in my brush because something green is coming out here. Yeah, so it will spread out, and like I said, it's not doing its best thing right now. So I'll have to fix this up when I have the right supplies, when I have the right brush, and preferably get the green out of there. But again, you get the idea, so that'll give me kind of a sky blue background going on there. All right, and then I can, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to glue it down. I'm going to glue, I already glued that down, right? And then my interior, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp one of those or a couple of those on the interior. All right, so I won't do that right this minute. And then this will go on here, but because I'm going to get it wet, I don't want to glue it down yet. And then this will go on here, but get popped up. So I think you can kind of see the idea behind that. And then I had cut out a happy birthday sentiment in garden green. And I'm thinking now that I don't want to use the garden green because this one really doesn't have garden green. So I might redo that, but I just want you to see that. And I will take some pictures of these tomorrow. I think I actually have time tomorrow. And I will take some pictures of the Valentine's cards. And I hope to take some pictures during our event on Sunday. I am so very bad at remembering to take pictures. Even like at coffee and a card, I forget to take pictures. And sometimes it really annoys me. I annoy myself. What do you know about that, right? Okay, so we have yet a different one. This one has lots of yellow in it. I think it's Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry, if I remember correctly. But I also have Lemon Lime Twist, and I think that was sort of in there as well, but I just liked it, so that's why I have it. And then I have a piece of black that is 3 3/4 by 5. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller to see some of the Lemon Lime Twist. And here's my idea. So I'm not going to put this down yet. My idea is to make what some people call a 3-panel card. I sometimes call a 3-panel card a card that you fold into 3 panels. But another way of saying 3-panel card is to do something different. So what I'm going to do, I want to make sure that I've got the measurements correct on this. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. All right, so if it's 3 3/4, I'm going to want to go down probably to 3 1/2. So I'm going to cut this down, and it's kind of hard to decide what section. I think I want lots of sky in there, or I want some sky, and I want some of this, so I think I'm going to cut it this way. All right, so I'll be cutting off some of the floral stuff, but leaving the sky. And what did I say, 3 1/2? So yeah, I'm going to lose quite a bit of the yellow, but I think it just has to be. So I'm going to make that 3 1/2, and then I just want to see if that leaves me what I want for a border, and it does. And then, because I want this to go across but have space in between, I have to decide how long I want that to be. So this is where the math comes in, the thing I'm not so good at. So 5 inches. If I do 1 inch panels, I've got 1, 2, 3, yeah, no, I'm going to have to do 4, I think, and space them so that there's a little bit of space in between. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see if I have any idea what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to cut, and it's going to be like a scene, just like it is here, but with, you know, separation. All right, so we'll do 1. And I'm going to put that there. Something curled my paper. I wonder if I accidentally spritzed it. Yeah, it smells like alcohol. I think it accidentally got spritzed with the alcohol. I wasn't paying attention to where I was spritzing. All right, no harm done there. It'll dry. But I noticed it had like a slight curl to it, and I couldn't figure out why. All right, there's 2. And there's 3. Yeah, I think 4 will do it. And if I have to trim and make the black a tiny bit smaller, I can always do that too, which is much easier than actually doing the real math. Okay, so it's a 4-panel card, not a 3-panel card. And then I just want to do kind of a dry fit so that I can see how my spacing is and what my border will be like. Now, some people say to do the outside edges first and then fill in, because people won't notice if the outside edges aren't as even, but they will notice if the inside edges aren't as even. I'm just not sure about that. Either way, I'm just not sure about that. So let's see. And I'm not going to be like crazy perfect about it. I'm not going to get out the ruler and mark it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, and I think that that's okay. Sorry, just checking to make sure I didn't miss an important comment. I have a tendency to miss a comment that asks a question, and by the time I see it, it was referring to something I did 10 minutes ago, and then I really can't answer the question because I don't know what it's referring to. Or the question doesn't seem to make sense to me, and that's because it's not about what I'm doing right now. I'm going to kind of keep checking, although, again, I'm not going to want to go ripping that up, even if it's not right. All right, so I'm going to try to get this one kind of the same distance as that, but then I have the feeling the other 2 might not be quite right. Maybe I shouldn't. Oh, well. You only live once, right? This is one of those things where crafting standing up really does come in handy, because you get a bird's eye view. Sometimes you as the viewers can see something that's crooked that I don't notice until I pick it up and look at it. Yeah, it's a little off, but I think, again, it's okay. It's not the kind of thing most people notice and criticize. I didn't put any bling on the cards, but I don't have that within reach, so I think this card might look really cute with some of the brass butterflies on it. And now we have brass birds too. So that might be kind of cool. Actually, all of these being, oh no, that one's really not right though, is it? Okay. Okay, good, hi. Well, that's going to be too much. All right, now if I'd started on the middle and worked my way out, which is not what so many people say to do, then I could have just trimmed the ends if they were off. But, you know, it's okay. Oopsie. So my corner wasn't down. Okay. And now this can go on here. So really this is a pretty simple card. You know, yes, you got to do a little bit of thinking and a little bit of eyeballing. And if you really want to measure and mark out the spaces, you can certainly do that. I just kind of think life is too short Maybe I'm a lazy crafter, that's possible. I'll own up to that. Right, and I like having the wider border, which is why I made this smaller. You know, I find that when I have colors that I really like a wider border because I want to see more of that color. All right, and then for this one on the inside, I could do some stamping, or I could just do my thing where I take a little piece of this, and I think that's what I'll do. I'm just going to take a little bit of that. So this is probably the usual 4 by 5 1/4, I'm thinking. And I'll take 3/4 of an inch of it. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's giving me a hard time. So before we glue it down, let's put this on here. And then I can trim it if it's too long, which it will be. And sometimes that's easier than trying to measure it and measuring wrong and having it be too short. So I do try to line it up on one side, but you could just hang it right off of both edges and work at it that way. And that would be fine. And then I kind of pick it up and push it down so it's against the edge. And then you've just got to flip it over and cut it with your snips. There we go. And this is a great way to use up scraps of DSP. And even if it's not the same DSP, if you find something more along the lines of a solid thing, you know, that has some of the same colors in it, you can do that too. I mean, I suppose it's nice if it's matching, but it's not vital. So for this one, I had thought, if it fits, I didn't test it out yet to see if it fits. There is a thinking of you sentiment on here, which I like. And I think, can't say for sure, but I think that it will fit on the modern oval, and yes it does. So I could go with black. For this one I could go with garden green because there's garden green in there for sure, and that would complement the other green, I think. I keep saying I think because I'm not 100% convinced, but let's give it a try anyway. So I'm getting a pad under there. I'm getting a piece of the scrap paper because I haven't used this one yet, and I'm inking it up, and then yeah, you know, I feel like that's too dark. And I also feel like this pad is super juicy. Wow, really juicy. I don't know if there's what the other greens. Yeah, I'm just feeling like I'd like to use my old olive, but there's just no old olive in there. Yeah, boy, that's messy. So when you get gunk on the corner of your blocks like that, you really want to get it off, because if you're a rocker, as I call them, or the people who stamp and then do this, they rock, then you'll get that green or whatever color is on your corner, you'll get that right on your card, and then you won't be happy. All right, well, I don't know, it seems like the lemon lime twist isn't dark enough. How about, wait a minute, how about the Orchid Oasis? That would be different, wouldn't it? Let's see what that looks like. And that is definitely one of the colors in there. Okay, I like it, except I don't like the way it came out. So I'm just going to clean it one more time and we'll do it on the other side. Like I said, I do hear people who do these videos who live in warm, humid climates say that sometimes they feel like their ink is affected. But it's not warm, and it really hasn't been terribly humid either, so it's still looking a little sketchy. So I'm going to hold it down, let that ink soak into the paper. A little bit better. Oh, that's better. Okay. So that looks good, although, boy, I hate to cover up too much of it. But we always tend to think stuff has to go smack in the middle, and it doesn't. So if I put it over to one side, then we're still seeing a little bit of everything, and we're not covering up that nice tree. So I think that will work. Ew, come off. Oh, now I'm not sure which is the good side. No, okay. My cursor must have gone over your name, Colleen, because it says that you're going to the Nightfall Duo Live for Galentine's Day and something about the purple painted lady. So wherever you're going, have a good time. Sounds like fun. Oh, and you're going to have to tell me how your, the card that you made with the mason jar punch, how that was received by the people you gave it to, what they thought of that. So Colleen was making a card. She borrowed my mason jar punch to give to the owners, I assume, of a local distillery. And so she wanted it to look like, you know, moonshine in a jar kind of thing. I thought that was very clever. Okay, there we go. So we've got that one, Thinking of You. That's the inside of that one. We've got card number, well, this was card number 2. This is card number 3. This one is really pretty. I like that a lot. The window card, looking out the window. And then the other one, which I'm going to kind of finish putting together because I have to fix that sky because that's terrible. And we can't have that. And then the happy birthday, I'll probably banner that and put it somewhere. Maybe right across there. Okay? So those are the 3 cards for tonight. If you place an order in February, you will get everything you need to make each of these 3 cards. So I hope that you will place an order. Don't forget, it's Celebration. So for every $50 you spend, you get something free. If you spend $100, you don't have to get one of the $100 items. That's what somebody was asking me the other day. You can get 2 of the $50 items if you like some of those better. There's a lot of really pretty DSP in Celebration this year. So don't forget about that. And also don't forget that there's a wonderful joining special going on right now until February, what is it, 29th? Is that the last day this year? Is it a leap year, right? So if you join Stampin' Up, you can get the starter kit. Anybody who's ever joined under me can tell you that I don't harass them. I don't bug them. I've had people join and then that's it. They joined, they did a couple of things and they were done, and that's fine too. You absolutely don't need to do videos. You don't need to do sales. You don't need to do any of that stuff. So talk to me if you have any questions about that. I promise it's not a scam or a scheme. It's exactly what it appears to be. It's a great opportunity for someone to become what we call a discount shopper. All right, so I will see you 1 week from tonight, and everybody have a great time. Bye-bye.